Okay guys, I just wanted to make a quick video on my Toyota Tacoma. The point in this video is to kind of talk to anybody who's considering going from a full-size truck. I had a Tundra, a 2016 TRD Limited, and the experience that I've had so far, I've had the truck for a little, I'd say about 5 days now, and I was really reluctant to go from a full-size vehicle to a Tacoma. The reason I had to was because my Tacoma got rear-ended and totaled. So I've always wanted a Tacoma, but every time I got in one, I kind of was like, I don't think I can do this. And this time I sat in a Tacoma and I was like, I think I'm gonna go for it. The attraction to me was it's a smaller truck. Size-wise, that wasn't so important, but the idea of getting a little bit better fuel economy, the reliability is there. I'll admit, I am a Toyota fanboy. I did test drive the new Ford Ranger. I think the gas mileage is probably better on that. The engine performance is probably better. I am one of the holdouts that doesn't like the idea of the turbo, and I like the naturally aspirated. And because I'm a Toyota fanboy, I will say that the interior on the Ford Ranger didn't really seem that appealing to me. So I decided that I was going to get the Tacoma. And the only way I was going to get the Tacoma is if I got the full 6-foot bed. And I found this truck used. It's a 2019 TRD 4x4 Sport. And so far, I've loved it. Now, I almost didn't get the Tacoma when I was going through the numbers because I watched a lot of reviews on the Toyota Tacoma trying to figure out what kind of gas mileage that I could get. I will tell you that on my Toyota Tundra, which was a double cab model, and the reason I got the double cab was because it had the 6.5-foot bed, because I enjoy and utilize the bed space for canoeing and camping and doing all kinds of recreational activities. My Tundra long-term average was 15.5 miles per gallon. I think that's pretty much flat across the board what most people advertise. I'm not heavy-footed at all. And everybody was saying that these got 17, 18 miles per gallon at best. I've already gone through one full tank of gas, and that was mostly city driving, and I averaged 22 miles per gallon. Actually, a little bit better. I think 22.4. I recently did a camping trip where it was mostly highway miles, and I was getting a little bit over 24 miles per gallon. Again, I'm not heavy-footed. So if you're thinking about the Tacoma and the miles per gallon doesn't seem that appealing to you, and you're not doing a lot of upgrades, because I think most of those people are running larger tires, larger rims, and a lot of performance upgrades that would take away from the miles per gallon. If you're not heavy-footed, they do well, and that essentially, I'm getting like 6 to 7 miles per gallon better, which is significant, especially with gas prices the way they are right now. Now, the other things I kind of wanted to talk about was the cab space. I do have a son, so I have a car seat. He's 7 years old, and I wanted to kind of show you guys how I have the truck laid out. And there were actually some things that the Tacoma did that I didn't even know when I purchased it. So this is kind of the inside. Really what we're going to talk about isn't really necessarily the upfront cab space, because that's comfortable, that's fine for me, I don't take an issue. But what the issue was going to potentially be was with a car seat. Now, because I was in an accident, I had to remove the old car seat, which was a booster seat that did not sit as far forward as this one does. But this is how I have my seat comfortably driving. All right, and then the other thing is with this one, again, it sits a little bit far forward, and because I was in an accident, it was kind of a wake-up call. So my son is going to go back into a harness until he can't sit in a harness anymore, again, because it was a wake-up call. Now, something else to consider is when you're talking about safety and where to put your car seat, it's always best, if you only have a single child, to put your child behind you. That's because naturally you're going to do evasive maneuvers away from an accident, and having him on the same side makes sure that you're putting both of yourselves in a safe position. Now, my Tundra's single seat was on the right side, where on the Tacoma it's on the left, and you can see It's not exactly a lot of leg space, but it's plenty of leg space for him. And the other features that I didn't realize was how the seats folded like this. I have 2 dogs. I have a 75-pound Lab Akita mix, and I also have a miniature Schnauzer. And it doesn't look like much right here, but it's plenty for them to get into and sit. Also, when you fold the seats back, you get a significant amount of storage space back here. So you can put your items there. And then also underneath, you get storage space underneath with the little self-locking containers. So honestly, it works out really well. And for me, what it's done is it's given me a smaller truck with similar capabilities. Now, when it comes to going from a Crew Max to this, it's not going to be the same at all. But going from a double cab, I haven't measured the cab space, but I feel like the 4-door Tacoma and a double cab are about the same depth, roughly. I'm sure somebody will throw out some numbers that dispute that. I'm just going based off of when my son is behind me reaching behind or handing him something or doing something like that. It feels identical to the double cab. Now, as you can see, I have the flated camper shell back here, and I'll do a separate review on that, but just a little bit of a plug. It's pretty cool. It's not perfect, but it's really, really cool. I've enjoyed it so far, and I'll give you guys kind of a look at what this looks like real quick. That way you can get an idea what the bed space looks like on the 6-foot bed. And you can kind of get an idea of how tall the flated shell sits. Again, I've really enjoyed it. It gets great gas mileage. Now the things that I gave up on the Tundra, obviously, I gave up the towing capacity and the performance of the V8. But to be honest with you, I'm not really towing anything other than a small camper. And this is well within the towing capacity. I think 6,500 roughly is what the towing capacity is on the Tacoma. The Tundra was 10,500, how I had it set up. I'm giving up a little bit of width. So obviously, because the truck is more narrow, the cab isn't as wide. But that hasn't been a problem for me so far. But again, I just kind of wanted to give you guys my experience going from a Tundra to a Tacoma. I've enjoyed it so far. I've only had it for about 5 days, but it's been a great experience. And I would encourage you guys, if you don't need the V8 and you can find yourself a 6-foot bed Tacoma, I would highly recommend it. I would not have gone with the Tacoma with the shorter 5-foot bed. I just don't feel like that's enough space for me. But again, if you can find one with a long bed and get something set up like this, going from a full size, I don't think you'll have any problems. If you got a larger family with 2 or 3 kids, I wouldn't recommend it, and I would tell you go with the Tundra and get the Crew Max. But hey guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Like, share, subscribe. You guys have a good day.